So we're setting up a text annotation task, and then I'm going to fast forward and show you all the analytics you can see once annotation is actually underway. And finally, I'll walk through the labeler experience on our mobile app diagnosis. All right, so here I am in the Centaur web portal. I'm going to create a project. I'm going to call it Medical Transcript NER Demo. Select my data type. I'm going to use text. And here I can elect to self-host my data, meaning keep it in my cloud, and Centaur doesn't copy it. Centaur just sends it directly to the labelers. Once inside the project, I have a few choices. I can set up tasks or add data. Let's create a NER task, named entity recognition. For this, labelers are going to highlight text and classify the text. So our task is just going to be highlight all the drugs in the transcript. I can define many answer classes if I want. In this case, we're just looking for a drug, so we're just going to have one class, drug. Once I've created a task, I probably want to go in and create instructions for the labelers. So these will be required. This is the first step before anyone can label. These are helpful for, explaining the ins and outs of the task, maybe calling out edge cases or corner cases, even giving specific examples with, screenshots or even GIFs. So instructions are very important. All right. And to complete my setup, I want to connect my data sets. So both unlabeled data and gold standard data. There are a few ways to do that. You can copy the data directly to our cloud by uploading it. Or if you're self-hosting like I am, you can just connect your cloud data source and Centaur will serve those files directly to the labelers on demand. Once you're set up, you can work with your Centaur project manager to launch a labeling contest and start to see results coming in, which can be as quickly as 15 or 20 minutes. It's pretty fast. All right, so fast forward, imagine we had that task set up, we did some labeling. Let's see what it looks like once annotators have competed with each other for a week. So here you can see all the data has been labeled, gold standards and everything else. We got 7.7 qualified human opinions per labeled case. So we're asking lots of people and we're combining their opinions. And we got over 18,000 total opinions across these transcripts. You can dig into the labeling results by jumping to this analysis page. So see all these insights like average IOU, agreement, difficulty, confusion matrix. If there's many classes, this is very useful. You can see the distribution of labels, the rate of labeling. And then to dig in even deeper, we can look at each individual transcript and see what the labelers thought. So something that's very useful here is I can search for cases in which there was low agreement, meaning labelers had a really hard time agreeing with each other. Let's click into one of these. All right, so this is fascinating. These are the top labelers, but they did not agree. Some people thought there were no drugs. This person saw 2 drugs. This person saw 5 drugs. So this is a case where I could probably come in and improve my instructions or maybe improve my gold standards to make sure that labelers are avoiding these mistakes in the future. So it's an iterative process with us. You can get some results, you can tweak the settings, we'll get more labels, and once it's set up right, we can really scale and achieve great quality at scale. Okay, finally, I'm going to show the mobile app. So I have to switch screens again. Here we are in Diagnose Us. So imagine I'm a resident at Mass General Brigham, and I compete in diagnosis contests regularly as a study break. So instead of scrolling through social media, I am winning money on Diagnose Us. I've been studying for 4 hours. It's time for a break. So here I am in Diagnose Us. I'm going to go to Learn. I can also go to Compete and try to win money. And since I'm studying to be a GI doctor, I'm going to go in and do some polyp tracing. First, I have to go through the instructions. This is a requirement. This is going to explain the task. And once I'm done, I'm going to go in and practice on some cases. So first, I'll do a terrible job here. I'm going to draw a shape that's nowhere near the polyp. All right, I got a score of 0. I can hide this correct answer so I can kind of see what's underneath it. And what's happening here is I'm learning the task as Centaur is learning how good I am. So as I progress, hopefully I get better and better. I start scoring higher and higher. And once I'm confident at the task, I can move on to competing. Now remember, none of these opinions that I'm doing count toward the qualified human opinions. So it's a long road to be considered qualified. I have to look at a minimum number of cases. I have to have a high enough trailing average accuracy. So rest assured that only the best labelers who have really proven their skills are actually contributing to the results. All right, so let's look at the active contests. Here's one with a $35 prize pool. And if I look at the leaderboard, there's a ton of people who are competing here. These ones down at the bottom did not do great, but these ones at the top, especially the ones who are winning money, have a pretty high average accuracy. So as you can see, we get a lot of scale and we get a lot of people competing, and some of them end up being really, really good. So if I think I can beat Petra here, which I'm certain I can't, I would go in, complete the instructions, and actually read them. There's a lot of them. Okay. And then start competing. And typically, there's a certain number of cases, there's a certain amount of work I have to do to even qualify. I won't be able to get through that in this demo. But I think that gives a pretty good overview of how labeling looks on mobile.